Today I'm working with serving utensils and polymer clay. Polymer clay is a type of modeling clay that hardens when cured in an oven. There's many brands to choose from, but I like working with the Primo brand. Comes in many colors, but you can mix your own by using just these three right here. The clay is quite stiff when it comes out of the package, so it needs to be conditioned. It can be conditioned by hand, but I use a pasta machine to help with it, and it's good for color mixing as well as making sheets of clay that are of an even thickness. I collect unique, vintage, and antique utensils from estate sales, thrift shops, yard sales, wherever I can find them. They come from all over the world, and they're fun to go out and find. I like to use polymer clay to give them an upcycled facelift, so you have a little something fun on your buffet or dining room table. Depending on the type of handle the utensil has, I'll either cover it with as is, or like this wooden one here, I'll remove the wood and fashion a new handle out of base clay. Base clay is scrap pieces from previous projects mixed together. That way there's no waste. That's a nice thing with polymer clay, everything gets used. You can see how nice and malleable this is since it's been conditioned. I'll be putting the clay onto the utensil, just wrapping it around, forming it until it creates a handle that I'm happy with. Tear it off, cut it off, just mold it, keep moving it around until you get a shape that you like, and then smooth it out really well. You want to get rid of all these seams and get a nice shape to it. Once it's the way that I want it, I'm going to put it in the toaster oven, since this is a small piece, at 275 degrees. That's what Primo clay cures at. Since this is rather thick, I'm going to be having it in there for about an hour to cure fully. Once I'm done with that, it comes out of the oven and it's cooled. I'll sand it with a coarse grade of sandpaper to make it nice and smooth, so I have a good working surface to put my veneer on. This has been sanded and cured, and it's nice and rigid. It makes a nice solid handle. Veneer are made from canes. Canes are different components of polymer clay that you create a log with them, and the different components lay the full length of the log, kind of like a sushi roll. The canes are then reduced by squeezing and compressing them to make the log smaller. And once it gets sliced, then it reveals the design, and the design will be exactly the same all the way through the entire log. To make the veneer, we cut the thin slices off of the cane and put them together side by side using a tissue blade, which is basically a nice sharp long razor blade, and just paste them together, put them down on my glass to stick, and I'll continue putting these together until I have the size that I need for my handle. These will all get burnished so that they're nice and tight together. And through the magic of television, I have one that is completed. So I've used the different components, and then I added some solid color to the top and bottom. And it's the length that I need for my handle. This is a vintage Japan mid-century silver plate pie server that I put a new base handle on. So I've coated this with a heat set medium. This is going to help the raw clay adhere to the cured clay. The heat set medium is kind of like a glue, and it's going to cure in the oven along with the polymer clay when I put this back in. It also helps to stick to the clay while you're forming the piece on there. So when I get this nice and lined up, get a nice seam in the back, putting the clay together. Need to come in here and just cut a little bit. To get it to go in side by side. Lining up the seams with the clay. And so I'll continue working this and getting it to fit to the base handle. And once I get it to the way I like it and get it all smoothed out the way that I want it, it's going to go back into the oven, again at 275 degrees, but this time for just about a half an hour, since the veneer is so much thinner than the base handle was. Once it gets cured, it's going to come back out of the oven and cool, and then I will use a progressively higher grit sanding sponges to get it nice and smooth, and then I'll polish it to a high sheen on a buffing wheel. Here are some examples of some finished utensils. They really make a statement on the table. Polymer clay is a really fun medium to work with and can be used in many techniques. It can be used for sculpting, you can carve with it, and you can make jewelry as well, make jewelry components. I hope you enjoyed the demo. For more information, contact the Blue Ridge Polymer Clay website. Thank you.